Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second episode of Terror Talks. I know it's been a while since the first one, but I've had school and other things to deal with, but we are back. So we have another special guest, so feel free to introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Gory Cory or Cory McCullough, and I'm a horror blogger.
Cool. Yeah, Corey just wrote an article for Shudder. If horror Twitter got a hold of it, and it was floating around everywhere. I think Barbara Crampton saw it. I was
She did. That was insane.
very jealous. I was like, oh my God. Scream Queen herself.
Yeah.
Okay, so today, in terms of horror news, let's talk about Freaky. So Freaky, Christopher Landon, Happy Death Day. It's his next kind of entry into the horror world. So what were your thoughts on the trailer?
I am so excited. I think honestly, it's such a good concept that I never really would have thought about before, but it's awesome. And like so many of my friends were texting me about it that were not interested in horror at all, and they were so excited. So I can't wait to see what happens with it.
Yeah, that's always a good sign if non-horror fans are getting excited for something. I thought the trailer was awesome. It was just it's definitely got that like fun vibe that Christopher Landon's movies have been like, and I think we need more like fun horror. We get every so often we get a new like fun horror film that's just like really enjoyable as it is terrifying. And I think I know Freaky. I think it's premiering next month at a drive-in festival. So we
really?
should. Yeah, I think in LA it's called like Beyond Fest or something.
Oh yeah.
So we should be seeing reactions for that pretty soon.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah, and it looks really gory too, especially with the Fangoria cover.
Yes.
That just beautiful decapitated football player. It looks like
that Fangoria cover was so nice. I can't wait to see the entire issue this month.
I'm glad they pulled it off because they were gonna have Candyman as the cover
a
couple days ago, and they had to swap it out pretty quickly, and it came out really cool. I like the color.
Yes, I think we're gonna start seeing a lot more films with like pink, blues, and purples.
I love that the visual. If films have like colorful visuals, it's always just icing on the cake. I've been watching Ratchet on Netflix.
It's so pretty.
The colors are crazy.
They're gorgeous. I love it.
It's also gory, also, and I love it. So speaking of like Freaky, what do you think it's gonna kind of add to the ever so big slasher catalog that we've accumulated over the years?
Well, I think it's definitely gonna help bring back the slashers. I've been saying for years that slashers are the next genre, the next subgenre that we're going to see. But I think it's going to bring back also like the comedic slasher because we haven't really seen much of that since Scream. So I'm really excited to see what happens with that. And just like playing with supernatural stories and fresh takes on like old stories.
Yeah, and speaking of like Scream, I think the new one just started filming today or yesterday. There's some set photos floating around. If you want to take a peep online, there are photos of the house they're filming in.
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
I
know everyone's like
excited.
Yeah, I trust those directors. I think they're gonna make it really good, but I'll be interested to see what the audience reaction is, like the fan reaction.
I mean, I think it's been enough time where we've digested the fourth movie.
Yeah.
We're ready to see it again because they did the TV show, which I did watch most of it. And I enjoyed it. I even bought the mask from the replica of the
mask. The MTV one.
Yeah.
I love it.
Then I didn't watch when they brought the old mask back. I didn't watch the show because it was a reboot and it was all new characters. But yeah, I think we're ready for a nice,
definitely
throwback cast to come back and kind of claim the horror throne. I mean, because we just got Laurie Strode back, and now we're gonna get Sydney, Gail Weathers, all those fun people. So we're really just waiting on Jason and Freddy to come back.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, because we got Chucky, he's coming back. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like they're all coming back. I know the guy who directed The Ritual, David Bruckner, is doing a Hellraiser reboot, I think.
Oh, I think I heard about that. Yeah.
So yeah, they're
That'll be
coming back from the grave, all around the same time, which is pretty cool. Oh, Candyman too. I
yeah.
forgot. Yeah. So definitely, yeah, the slashers are coming back, and I think we need them. I think we miss
Yeah.
them. Um, let's see. So yeah, we talked about like reemergence of slashers. So back to, do you? So Christopher Landon's done the first two Happy Death Days. I believe he did Scout's Guide to the Zombie
Yeah.
Apocalypse, and now Freaky. So what are some things you've kind of noticed about his directing style that you hope to see in Freaky?
Yeah, I love the way that he portrays like young adult and teen stories. I think it's so much fun, and it's much closer to like somewhat accurate than a lot of the films I've seen. But and I love the music he uses. He uses a lot of like pop and rap music, which is so much fun, and we don't really see that often in horror, so I really appreciate that. And his cinematography and just like the way that the colors in his movies look are just amazing.
Yeah, they definitely are more vibrant and more like I don't want to say lighthearted because they're still pretty dark, but like the way he goes about it, there's so many moments that are just like fun, like when Tree, the in Happy Death Day 1, when Tree like decides one day that she's gonna be nice to everyone and she
Yeah,
signs the thing and then she puts the pillow down for the pledge. It's just very fun. And then in Happy Death
yeah,
Day 2, she jumps out of the helicopter. I thought that's really fun. And I watched Scout's Guide so long ago before I even like realized that director was gonna kind of eventually come back to make some of like the most iconic like new
yeah.
slasher films. And that film was pretty fun as well.
It's really
From what I
good. It doesn't get
remember.
like enough appreciation for that, but it's really funny.
Yeah, it's funny, and I think unfortunately zombies might be on the decline right now.
Yeah,
I think they had their moment. It was like early 2000s, 2010s, but now we're getting
yeah.
over them.
They're just
Walking
gonna be
Dead
doing
is
that for a
ending,
while.
kind of. And now the slashers are here, and I will
I'm
gladly
so
take a
happy
trip with the slashers.
finally. I'm excited to
Uh,
start seeing more original slashers like Freaky and not
yes.
like no remakes. I want to see the new ones.
Yeah, and I mean, it's kind of frustrating because there have been so many attempts. I know The Gallows. Did you ever see
Yeah,
that? The trailer for The
yeah,
Gallows referenced Jason and Freddy. It said like Jason has his machete, Freddy has his glove, and Charlie, the killer in The Gallows, has his noose. So they really were trying to
yeah.
make, him. It didn't work. And I don't know what the formula is to making an actual like slasher that gets
I
appreciated
think,
by like pop culture. It's really weird.
yeah, I mean, the formula for anything like that is so difficult, but I think just staying true to it and not trying to copy off of the other ones probably.
Yeah. And I mean, I've noticed like a lot of them don't come out of the gate swinging as a slasher. They kind of slowly grow like appreciation. I know that happened with like Sam from Trick or Treat. I don't
Yeah,
know. I mean, I guess he's a slasher, but like I feel like when he first came out, I don't remember him being so iconic as I feel like he is now. Like
yeah. Well, that was a DVD release, I believe. I don't think it
really?
came out in theaters.
I didn't know
So,
that.
which like when you think about it, the way that it's become so iconic is just so impressive. But he's one of the most like iconic horror figures today. So it's just really cool to see that.
Yeah. And like Spirit Halloween, like this year, it's all Sam from Trick or Treat. It's kind of bizarre. Like
Yeah.
it's been like years, and then all of a sudden now it's Sam everywhere. I
Yeah.
went in there a couple weeks ago. There's like Sam shirts. There's like Sam masks. You could buy a medium-sized Sam, a large Sam. I mean, it's crazy. Um, so yeah, Sam has definitely struck the lottery for horror icon. I
I
know.
think you should. Sam is amazing.
Yeah, I love that guy.
Yeah.
Art the Clown as well.
Yeah,
Kinda
yeah.
has a following, but I've never seen the movie.
I think it's getting bigger.
Yeah,
Ever
like
since it's been on Netflix, I think more people have been
yeah,
yeah.
because now there's a sequel for him coming out. And I guess people like art. I just don't know. I'm a Pennywise guy, so
Yeah.
I haven't really paid attention to the other clowns that are trying to intrude on his kind of claim to fame, but it's okay. All right. So I guess we could transition to kind of what you've been talking about recently with how you're kind of looking for films to have a better representation of like teenagers. And I found the article really interesting because I mean I'm 20, so I'm like not a teenager anymore, but I was like just a teenager,
Yeah.
still act like a teenager. So I got what you're saying, that it feels like these new films aren't exactly catering to an accurate audience or depiction that we really want to see. So
Yeah.
feel free to just expand on that.
Yeah, well, I think overall, like, regardless of genre, there are very few films and TV shows I've seen that really accurately represent like Gen Z. But I'll say horror is the one that really needs to, because we're seeing so many less horror fans that are teens, and horror is a predominantly like young adult genre. So the fact that so few young adults are actually going to the theaters and supporting horror is really scary. Um, and if we really want the genre to continue and we want to inspire the next generation of horror filmmakers, we're going to have to start making things that they can see themselves in.
Yeah, like I mean, when I see my high school friends, it takes me a lot for me to convince them to go to the
Yeah.
movies with me. I have to pretty much pitch these movies to them in a way that'll make them see it.
Mhm.
I think the last horror movie I got them to see was Black Christmas, the
Um,
new one.
yeah.
And I kind of pitched it to them like I didn't bother really explaining like the history Black Christmas
Yeah.
kind of has. It was more like, oh yeah, it's like sorority girls. There's a slasher Christmas time, and like I guess the slasher stuff is still a pretty. I mean, a lot of teens like gore. I think I've picked up
Yeah,
on that, like
definitely.
shock value.
Mhm.
So that's like one way I guess it attracts them, but I feel like there has been a lack of like legitimate portrayals of like modern teens that are going to connect.
Mhm.
And like the worst is when you see a movie try and do high school and it's very clear that it's
It
not
is
high school.
so bad. Yeah. And it's not even like it's not really that difficult. They could ask us. You
Yeah.
can have teen consultants. That's not
Yeah.
like illegal. So I think we're gonna hopefully see more of that soon.
Yeah, I think when we start getting behind the camera and
Yeah.
writing stuff, we'll start to see that better reflected. But then again, by the time we start making it, is it going to be
Exactly.
outdated and the cycle's going to begin again? But like a recent example of like a terrible high school portrayal. I like the movie, but Babysitter Killer Queen. Did you
Yeah.
see it? The
Yeah, I
first quarter
loved
of
it.
that movie,
Not a
I
good portrayal.
oh God, I it almost turned me off from the entire movie. But luckily, the last half of the movie was a lot of fun. But that is like a prime example of like I don't know if they were trying like it wasn't funny. It was just kind of like
It felt very much like it was trying to copy like a Riverdale type show where
yeah,
they're teens, but they're not really.
yeah. It was I don't know. It was bizarre. I'm trying to think. Let me check my letterboxed if there's been any like recent kind of portrayal that I've actually thought was like pretty accurate to like
I
our
think for me personally, I think Tragedy Girls is pretty close.
tragic girls. I haven't seen all of that. I've
So,
only seen part
so
of
good.
it.
So good. And I think I liked Becky a lot. Becky was very like wasn't necessarily in high school or anything, but I think that's a great teen film. And even
I have
something
not.
like, oh,
What?
it's if you haven't seen it, it's so good. It's so
My
much fun.
friend saw it, which was weird. He watched it with his family, I think. It's like,
That's an
oh,
interesting one to watch with the family. Awesome film though. And Daniel Isn't Real isn't necessarily, it's like a college
ooh,
student, but I think that is awesome.
I
Yeah.
love that one.
I
Really
have
loved
watched
it.
that movie way too many times. It's so good.
Yeah. Let's see. Like honestly, like other than those you listed, not.
There really is just a big lack.
Did you see The Shed?
I just started watching it because it was just put on Shudder, right?
Yeah, there's a couple scenes in that struck me as accurate. There's one, I don't want to spoil it, but there's a really heated argument that happens that I found very believable. But I don't love that movie, but I think it's decent. Let's see. Yeah, so there's not really like, because I like the coming of age stuff. I love
Yeah,
like horror with coming of age, and I really loved It from 2017, but that's like not modern coming of age. That's
yeah,
like nostalgia for that kind of point in time, like Stand by Me and all those
mhm,
fun movies. And I think we just really need to see the modern coming of age
yeah,
horror equivalent.
definitely.
Um, that's not just a slasher. Like
Yeah,
there's other avenues to take.
and even with
Um,
slashers, though, just the
wow.
the few recent ones that we've seen just have not really been that accurate.
Yeah.
Um, and it's not like teens really like horror, and this is something I have to like hammer into my friends because they don't believe me. But like Billie Eilish videos are pure horror, and
Yes.
everyone loves them, and they don't realize it. I think we just need to like force teens to realize that they actually like
I
horror.
love Billie Eilish. It's
Yeah,
like a running joke between my friends and oh my God, her music videos
are
are they're
so
short
good.
films. They're short
Yes,
films
they're
that are horror.
amazing,
And
and they're
people
so
stan her and people
yeah.
stan the visuals. You're standing horror. You are literally standing horror.
Exactly. And this is the perfect time for independent filmmakers to make movies for teens because liking independent films is like a trend now. So
A24.
all of the A24 films did wonderfully with teens. Like all of my friends know those films and they claim to like them even if they don't necessarily because they like to be on trend.
Cause I mean, it's got the stamp of
Yeah.
A24, and I've seen people bring up other films that they claim, like, did you see Gretel and Hansel?
Mhm.
People said if that had A24 stamped on it, it might
Yeah.
have gotten a different following. Because I think when people see A24, they prepare themselves and they think like they can make excuses for the film because it's that artistic A24
Mhm.
kind of thing. And I don't know if that's good or bad for the future of the genre. I'm glad Midsummer and Hereditary have gotten this really mainstream,
Yeah.
like it's even if you're not a horror fan, like people know these movies is like, wow, really kind of intense. But yeah, I definitely think there is some work to be done in terms of, getting modern teens to be kind
Mhm.
of interested in this
Yeah.
stuff.
Because it's
But
like
yeah,
I have to like kick and scream to have my friends watch a horror movie, and
yeah,
then they do, and they love it. And then the second it's over, they're like, "I liked it, but I still don't like horror movies." It's like,
yeah.
yes, you do.
The thing with like my friends is when I would make like short films in like middle school, elementary school, they were my actors.
Oh,
So
that's so
I pretty
cool.
much forced them to like horror in some way, but
Yeah,
even I still have to convince them to kind of take the leap because then they'll whine that movie tickets are expensive or blah blah blah. I want to watch a comedy. I don't want to blah blah blah. But yeah, but I'm so happy you brought up Billie Eilish because I can talk about Billie Eilish for
yeah.
hours.
That is pure horror,
It
and her
is.
music too.
I
So,
wrote an article for Bloody Disgusting about Billie Eilish being
wait,
horror.
really? Oh
Yes, because
my
I
God.
was so
That's,
and I was so glad they accepted the pitch because it's
yeah,
such like you wouldn't expect that. And the comments were like so many people like, "What? No, that's Billie Eilish. That's pop. I don't want any of that." But like watch the video. She grows demon wings and
yeah.
walks around a fiery suburban
With
town.
the black demon eyes and spits like goo
Yeah,
out.
the director of that music video directed The Curse of La Llorona and
Oh,
he's directing the new Conjuring movie. Um,
pure horror.
he's he's literally I interviewed him for La Llorona because I go to school in Texas at UT Austin and
Yeah.
the paper I write for covers South by Southwest.
Oh my God, that's right.
And he was one of the directors there and I had told him I was like I love that music video you did and he was like yeah yeah. So he's cool and then I spoke to since I loved her recent video where she drives the car into the water.
Yeah.
So I reached out to like I dug into the video and in the description section they credit like this guy who developed and edited it. and he has like no following on Twitter or whatever. So I reached out to him and I was able to speak to him about like the elements, and he pretty much said, yeah, like horror elements are huge because he also edited Bury a Friend.
Oh no.
Um, and he pretty much said like, yeah, like they were looking for horror movie inspirations, and I had sent him my Billie Eilish article, and he agreed with it. So even from the production side of Billie
Yeah.
Eilish's kind of world, they know that they're using horror visuals, and I just wish like same with The Weeknd. Have you seen
Yeah. Almost all
what?
of his new videos are very
Yeah,
horror.
especially in My Eyes, I think it's called, where he's a slasher and he chases this girl and she does the Texas Chainsaw Massacre like chainsaw swing. Like horror is all over mainstream stuff, but people
They just
don't
don't
want to.
categorize it that way, and it
Yeah,
drives me crazy. Even
it's
like,
bizarre.
yeah, and a lot of my friends like American Horror Story too, and then they claim they don't like horror, and I'm
Yeah,
like, it's literally in the title.
yeah. American Horror Story is a whole other bucket of
Yeah.
worms. Because that also people like that show, but I think some people like it for the like the weird
Cinematography.
fandom
Oh,
aspects
yeah.
of it, like Tate, and they like
Oh,
fetishize over some of the. It's a little weird.
yeah.
But then there are also people who like the show because of the spooky stuff,
Mhm.
like me. I'll watch that show. Any new season, I'll watch it.
I just
Even
think it's
though
so interesting how they're able to keep it going for so long.
yeah, they reinvent themselves every year, and I think that's so
Don't
fun.
have the same actors, which is so cool.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to the next season because it's got a ridiculous cast,
Yeah.
which I'm excited about.
Even like Stranger Things, though, there's so much, and everyone liked the original It movie. That's my age, so I don't know what we have to do to get them to actually watch horror and admit that it's horror. But
Yeah, Str- Stranger Things is another like that fan base
yeah,
loves that show so much,
and it's
and
horror, and everyone argues it's not, but it totally is.
season three was terrifying. Did you watch season three where they have like the zombies in the basement of that gas station or whatever? It was terrifying.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, there's like yeah, like there's horror is everywhere, but when it's not labeled horror, people don't think they're watching it. Or even when it's in the title, American Horror Story. Like people will sit through American Horror Story then say, "No, I don't want to watch a horror movie." Like
It's
some of
like,
the
what
stuff
do you want? I think,
some of the stuff you'll see in American Horror Story is more intense than what you'll see in theaters for sure.
yeah, yeah, definitely. I think it's really like the genre itself, people don't really understand that like it's a genre. So you can't just hate an entire genre of something to hate it. Like
Yeah.
it's not like every single story is going to be the same in the same way that like you can like dislike a lot of comedy films, but you don't hate the entire genre.
Yeah,
So I
for
wish
sure.
I wish people could just like understand that. But
Yeah. It's a shame. But yeah, and I think I'm glad that it seems like there are films and shows that are training like a very young audience to fall in love with horror. Like Hotel Transylvania is pretty successful with little kids, and I know Disney has a show called like Vampirina or something
yeah,
about like a young vampire, and I think that's super important because like I grew up with like Scooby Doo
me too.
and Wizards of Waverly Place, Legendary. That show was very spooky. Had
Yeah,
werewolves, vampires, mummies. That was great.
that's
Uh,
honestly a pretty good example of like horror for younger audiences to
yeah,
introduce.
for sure. I mean, the ghost episode of Wizards of Waverly Place where they hire the really scary
Yeah,
ghost was really scary when he does the eye trick and his face
yeah.
blows up.
There's
Uh,
I don't know if you've seen the episode of Zack and Cody where there was a ghost in the hotel, but that one scared me
yes,
so
where he
bad.
gets possessed. The
Yeah,
the ho- the
that
guy, I
freaked me
forget
out
his
so much.
Esteban.
Yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
was scary. And then the ghost actually appears at the end
Yeah.
and hands Zach his blankie, and it's
Mhm.
like a real ghost. It's
Yeah,
scary. It's like remind me of like Tower of Terror kind of vibes.
yeah, definitely.
And yeah, yeah, that also the Haunted Mansion is another one of my favorite
I wonder
all
if
ages
we get
spooky movies.
a new movie, not necessarily a remake of the Haunted Mansion movie, but
They
like a
are. Did
yeah.
you?
Did
Yeah,
I not
the
see that?
You must have, yeah, it was a huge announcement, or for me, it was huge because I love the 2003 movie. Like,
2003
I
movie's really fun.
I used to watch that like on repeat.
Mhm.
Um, Katie Dippold is attached to write,
No way.
and what did she write?
Oh my
Forget.
god, I'm so excited.
Oh, she wrote the Ghostbusters 2016, which I enjoyed. I really liked that one.
But it was fun.
It was very fun, and it's a shame that the world tore it apart for like the stupidest reasons.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's something I'm very much looking forward to. And I love the Haunted Mansion because it's fun on the outside, but if you dig into that lore,
The
ooh,
lore is really scary. It's really
yeah,
dark.
I love that. I love these like kids movies that
Mhm.
hide a much darker thing, like Monster House,
Yeah.
is
Wonderful.
terrifying.
So scary.
And it's just like it's horror is like everywhere. It's
Yeah.
for young, for old. We have a holiday celebrating horror, and everyone dresses up. I'm honestly, I believe everyone should dress up scary and spooky, but sometimes you get like the firefighters and the cops and stuff. Like you could at least make it a zombie cop or something.
Yeah.
Get spooky. Um, but yeah, I love Halloween.
Me too.
Um, so
I
yeah,
don't
I
know
guess
what I'm gonna do this year
what?
though. I wonder what's gonna
Oh,
happen this year though.
yeah, I'm already planning a costume that incorporates a face mask, like the
Nice.
Hannibal Lecter thing. I'm gonna put a mask under it,
So
so it works.
it's a good idea.
Uh, yeah, it's gonna be an interesting Halloween. If you want to like just talk about your blog for people, all the fans watching, and just explain kind of what you write about, what's coming, what maybe some of the favorite things you've written about are.
Yeah. So I write a lot of horror articles, kind of about whatever I want at the time. They usually deal with social messaging in horror and sort of like the major themes in movies. In the future, I'm hoping to start doing more reviews of movies and horror related stuff. And I'm working on a podcast right now, which will be really,
Ooh,
yeah. Um, I'm currently, my amount of content that I'm putting out is decreasing a little bit because I'm doing college applications, which are taking,
oh,
yeah, they're gross. I'm not a fan. But after like December, I should be able to like write a ton. Um,
yeah.
and my favorite articles are The Problem with Elevated Horror, The Size of Your Heart and the Shape of
Mm.
Your Character, and my academic horror article.
I
Because
hate elevated horror.
I hate elevated horror, the term, everything about it just makes me so angry.
Terrible creation, that term.
I just don't understand it. We don't have it for any other genre.
Nope. There's no like elevated comedy. It's just like
Exactly.
there's stupid comedies and then there's good comedies. It's like,
Yeah, because it's a genre and it varies.
yeah. Having your own blog, like that's amazing because you're the boss and you can
Yeah,
kind of
I
do
really
whatever you
like.
want.
I really like that. I didn't honestly know what I was doing when I started, so I just figured I would make it myself. Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely it's awesome. And I love the logo with
Thank
the
you.
it's cool.
Thanks. I didn't
Um,
realize, like, when I was making it, I didn't think about how gory it was, and then I tried to order stickers, and they were like, "This goes against our community guidelines."
really?
Yeah, and I was like, "Oh, I forgot." And then, like, my grandma was reading my page and stuff, and I was like, "Oh."
Have you seen Antebellum?
No, I really, really want to. I know everyone said it wasn't great. I don't care. I'm so excited.
Okay, yeah, okay. Just go
I'm
into it
gonna give it the
with
benefit of the doubt, and we'll see what
cool.
happens.
Yeah. Okay. Let me know what you think of that. All right. So I guess that's it. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
coming along, and you could plug your socials for
Oh,
everyone.
yeah. I'm Gory Cory Horror on Twitter, and on Instagram I'm _ Gory Cory _, I think.
Cool. So give them a follow. It'll be worth it.